Well, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. This is the Clean Hits Hockey Podcast. I see Trent smiling a little bit that I did not refer to it as American Thanksgiving. But more importantly, it is somewhat of a milestone tonight for the Utah Mammoth, and we are going to get all in that stuffing and break down exactly why it matters that the Utah Mammoth are sitting in a wild card spot on Thanksgiving Day. I am your host, Brad. We got Clean Hits Corey and Trent joining today. Boys, it feels good to get 2 home wins in a row, and tonight feels like a very winnable game against Montreal. And if that's the case, that's 3 in a row plus 2 loser points over the past 6 games. I'll take it.
Mm-hmm. Banking up the points.
Agreed. And currently, as of Wednesday, November 26th, the day before Thanksgiving, the Mammoth sit in the second wild card spot with 12 wins, 8 losses, 3 overtime losses, 27 points, and another key stat, 9 regulation wins. And that is important because there is no possible way that the Utah Mammoth will fall out of that wild card spot tonight with every single team in the league playing but 2. I've looked at all the scenarios up and down, and it can't happen. And that is important because, as we tweeted out earlier today, there is a 75% chance of making the playoffs if you are in a playoff spot on Thanksgiving. Right now, the Mammoth are on a 96-point pace. This time last year, they were on a 78-point pace. It really doesn't feel like it, but this team is holding on to that playoff or bust mentality, and despite a pretty brutal stretch there, are going to meet that milestone of being in a playoff spot on Thanksgiving Day.
Not only a hell of a improvement from last year, right? A 18-point pace improvement, but last year finished with 89 points. So if we did finish with 96, that's a 7-point bump. So another season where Andre Eternity's year-end record would be an improvement over the previous.
Yeah, that's the key. We're on pace for 96. On this date last year, we were on pace for 78. We ended up with 89, so hopefully we get a second half bump that's fairly equivalent to what we saw last year, or a second 60-game bump, I guess, because the team did really improve down the stretch last year. So hopefully we see a similar improvement this year, and we'll finish with more than 96 points, which would be incredible.
The only thing with 96 points, that's how many Calgary had last year, and they missed. They lost the tiebreaker to St. Louis, who also had 96 points.
Well, so I'll deflect that and say that with how tight the standings are this season, I think you won't have as many teams feasting on the bad teams because really there's only 3 teams that I can reasonably say are absolutely out of the playoffs right now. That'd be Nashville, Calgary Flames, and I think you can make the argument that Vancouver's looking really rough with no hope to get into the playoffs with some of the injuries they're dealing with, the depth, the kind of lackluster play, and now the rumors that they may be selling.
Mm-hmm. I would add the Sabres to that. Like, it's the Sabres; they're not making the playoffs.
I'm going to hold out hope still. I'll hold out hope. I'll be rooting for them and Josh Doan and Kessler. So I would agree. I think that's a pretty tough one.
The good news is if we miss by a point, like Calgary did, we can just win the lottery and move up 10 spots again. And this time, Caleb Desnoyers won't be there, of course, but we'll just pick like Albert Smiths or Carson Carrolls or one of these top defensemen up there. It's easy, right?
Yeah, sure. Well, I want to highlight why that regulation win is important because the San Jose Sharks are actually 2 points behind the Mammoth. Now, they play Colorado tonight, so chances of them beating the team that only has 1 regulation loss are probably pretty slim here. But if the Mammoth were to lose and San Jose were to win, we would be tied in points for 27. But regulation wins are the first tier of tiebreakers, and then it's your wins against that team. So San Jose only has 5 regulation wins, so even if they get one tonight, that's not going to be able to jump past the 9 that the Mammoth have. So no matter what happens tonight, despite every single team playing but Edmonton and LA, this team is going to be in a playoff spot tomorrow morning.
Only 5 regulation wins. That record in San Jose is a little deceptive, right? 11-9-3, yes. 5 regulation wins in 23 games. Like even Nashville has 4 regulation wins, so Calgary has 6. Calgary can't score.
Yeah. Now, that doesn't mean that they're making it yet, and it's going to be a battle because, like I mentioned before, these standings are so jam-packed tight. And kind of pulling out, looking at the current standings in the Pacific, it's the Ducks leading with 29 points, the Kraken in second with 28, the Kings with 28 points as well. Kraken have just played one less game. The Central is dominated by the Colorado Avalanche with 37 points, then the Stars with 32, and Minnesota Wild has kind of found their groove again, especially with fantastic goaltending from rookie Wallstead, and now they have 28 points. The 2 wild card spots, Vegas Golden Knights with 27 and Utah Mammoth with 27 points. Now we have 2 more wins than the Vegas Golden Knights, but the Knights will be getting a little bit of a boost in the net. Plus, Mark Stone sounds like he is returning to practice right now.
They just called him up from his conditioning stint, so he's good to go here. Do you know that between first place Colorado and third place Carolina, there's a 7-point gap? And then to do a 7-point gap from Carolina, you have to go all the way down to the 27th place Buffalo Sabres. They're who are at 22. There's no team at 23, but it just shows.
So that's a full league look.
Essentially, yes. Yep. It's really Colorado, kind of Dallas and Carolina, I think, will separate themselves, and then a whole whack of stuff, and then those teams we just talked about who are out of the mix.
Yep. So every win's going to be important, especially divisional wins here, especially against teams like Minnesota and Winnipeg, who we would love to keep out of the playoff race, but they have been without starting netminder and by far the best goaltender in the league for the past couple of seasons, Connor Hellebuyck. He will be returning. I'm not totally sure when, but obviously that will be a huge
4 to 6 weeks, I think.
Another month.
Yeah. I mean, that was the biggest frustration with that recent losing skid, right? Like throwing away a point to the Islanders, to Anaheim. Who was the other team in overtime loss? Like if you get even Sharks. 2 of those 3 points, right? Yeah, the Sharks. If we would have picked even up 2 of those 3 points, where are we in the standings then? We would have moved up to, we'd be at 29. We'd be ahead of Minnesota. We'd be in third in the Pacific right now and 3 points back at Dallas.
They're third in the Central. Maybe and tied for first in the Pacific. Yeah.
Yep.
But there is some good news here too, because one thing that during that kind of losing slump, one thing that I noticed, offense was really reliant on that third line and some of the zone exits and the struggle with the transition game. We were praising Simishev earlier in the season. Go check out that episode if you haven't yet. But I feel like some of these bigger minutes and these tougher assignments have been slowing them down. I thought he was fantastic with the transition early into the season. Lately, I haven't noticed him as much bringing the puck down. Sean Durzi coming back to the lineup tonight. That is going to be a huge jolt to the team speed, and that is how this team can win.
If he can just get something out of the power play, we have on the season, our power play is ranked 30 out of 32, and on November, it is by far the worst in the league. We are dead last power play in November with a 3.7%. Oof. That would be almost impossible. It would be impossible to repeat. They have 1 goal on 27 power play opportunities.
Yep.
So he can come back and just get something going there. That's a win.
Yeah, I'd like to see the personnel get back on track, and then I'd like to see maybe the coaching staff not overthink things too much when it comes to how they're setting up those power plays. And I don't mean systems and X's and O's and whether you're going to do a 1-3-1 or, how you want to organize it or whatever. I just mean personnel wise, right? Like Logan Cooley and Dylan Guenther could not have had better chemistry than what was displayed in the last game. I mean, it was incredible. And then we get our first power play and they're not together on the first unit. Like Barrett Hayton's out there on unit 1 and with Dylan Guenther, and then Cooley's on unit 2, I guess, for some reason. Like, what the hell are we doing? What the hell are we doing? Like, they have red hot chemistry. They couldn't have better chemistry. They were clearly feeling it together in the beginning of that game. And here we go with Barrett Hayton, PP1. And then we've got Kevin Stenlund, PP2. Like, what the hell's going on? Just put your top scorers on the top unit and see what happens and stick with it for a few games. Let's play a little checkers, a little less chess here. Let's just calm down the brain and just do the obvious thing. See how it works. It couldn't get worse.
No.
So I wouldn't even mind go a little old school, maybe put 2 defensemen on the power play. Just simplify, right? Maybe it's Cooley, Guenther, Keller with Sergachev and Durzi. Load it up that first unit, have them out there for 90 seconds, and then put whatever you want on the second power play.
I don't mind that either.
Which would then have Hayton as net front or bumper, and then you reserve Peterka as flanker, and then your point man is going to be Schmidt at that point, and he's really hot. He's putting up a ton of points. So then you have like a practical second line, because then you have Schmaltz as your other flanker, and away you go. That's like a decent second unit right there. Schmaltz and Peterka, by all rights, ought to have pretty good chemistry on paper. Schmaltz is a great playmaker. Peterka is a great finisher. There you go. I think that makes a ton of sense, guys. I don't know that we have to follow the league trend all the time. I think this team and every team is unique, and no 2 teams are the same. And I think it's okay for them to use the personnel that the general manager has given them in the best way. That's going to be the most effective with the man advantage, even if it's a little bit less than traditional with the current trends today.
I'm in complete agreement. And I'd much rather see them try that than this Hayton experiment on the top power play.
Or Kevin Stenlund anywhere near the power play. I know he can win faceoffs, but like, come on. And he impressed last year. He got, double-digit goals, but like, he should not be anywhere near the power play.
Am I crazy, or I shouldn't bring this up because I don't know the answer? Jack McBain's power play percentage has really been improving recently, right? McBain.
Power play percentage or face-off?
Face off. My goodness.
There you go.
It's a short week, but it's been a long one, boys. It's been a long week, despite how short it was. I feel like McBain's power play percentage has been improving. And if that is
face
the
off
case,
percentage.
I'm gonna go on
take a lap.
I'm gonna go on mute for a little while here.
Bag skate.
Point is, I think if I'm picking a net front guy, I'd rather have McBain there than Stenlund. And if he can win the draw too, that's great. I know it's a left-handed face-off guy versus a right-handed face-off guy, but depending on where it is on the side of the ice, there could be something there as well. Barrett Hayton is not terrible either at that, and he could be a decent bumper guy. The point is, there's a lot of options at our disposal that don't involve what we've seen. That's not working even a little.
Jack McBain has the team's best face-up percentage in November, and it's not even really close. He's at 56.4. Wow. The next regular center is Stenlund at 50.9.
So there you go. Like, if you have to have a face-off weapon, might as well have it be a guy who's actually dangerous in and around the net. Not this season so much, granted, McBain hasn't been, but traditionally he does have that skill set. And he's demonstrated it in the past. In the recent past, and perhaps you get him going a little bit if he gets a few minutes on the man advantage, gets a few cookies on the power play, and before you know it, he's got his confidence up a bit, and we have another productive top 9 player on our hands, which would be nice.
And he might be the most willing to stand in front of the net too. I mean, Hayton does a little bit, but McBain might be just a little bit more fearless there.
So Andre, if you're listening, we want Guenther, Cooley, Keller, Sergey with Durzi on PP1, Schmaltz, McBain, Hayton, Kraus, and Schmidt on PP2. Let's just
no Peterka.
Oh, Peterka. Holy cow. Well, so no Kraus then, right?
Yeah.
No Hayton.
Yeah.
No Hayton. How about?
Yeah, you could have Kraus be your bumper, McBain be your net front. You could have Schmaltz and Peterka be your flankers, and you could have Schmidt be your point man and run a 1-3-1.
Yep.
Maybe get Kraus going. Maybe get McBain going. I mean, let's do it.
Definitely need more from the bottom 6. Yeah, McBain. Kraus has been okay. Need more from McBain. Need more from Brandon Tanev. 1 point so far. I do think he needs to actually play more. I think he needs to be on the 3rd line rather than the 4th line. But we do need some more from that group.
And honestly, I am done with Carcone on the 2nd line. I am ready for him to maybe drop down to the 4th. And
he was last game, and I think he looked a lot better there. And I think that suits his skill set. He's not a playmaker.
Oh yeah, Yamamoto's
second line. Yamamoto was, and I mean, honestly, that's where Yamamoto fits. If you're going to play Yamamoto, put him in the scoring role. I would still like to see Daniil Boot in that spot or a potential acquisition, but I think they did sort that out right now, where Yamamoto is on line 2 and Carcone is on line 4, because Carcone does have a little bite to his game, so it makes sense to put him in that group.
He does, and I really like him. He's a fun player to watch. Yep. He's a little ball of energy. He can really he's really good with the gloves off too. People don't know that he can fight for a little guy, and he plays with a lot of energy. I like him. I just don't necessarily like him in the top 6. And as good as he's played, people will say, why are you against Kyler Yamamoto? Why are you against Michael Carcone? I'm not. I think they've both played well this season, and I like both players. They're very likable. Who did Yamamoto just absolutely explode with a huge body check against Vegas? It was awesome. I don't remember who it was. But point is, you look at them both and you say, okay, they're both playing really great this season. I think they are. I would say that Carcone and Yamamoto are both having really good seasons. They're getting to play in the top 6. They're getting power play minutes. They're doing really well. Kyler Yamamoto has 2 goals and 2 assists. And Michael Carcone has 3 goals and 3 assists. So, this is the high watermark for both of them, and we're on pace for a 20-point season out of each. So, I do like them. I don't like them in the top 6, and I don't like them on the power play.
I just don't like their size. And I mean, there's nothing they can do about that, but the whole group as a whole is just undersized, and they just contribute to that further, especially in the bottom 6. I don't really want 5'9" forwards.
I don't think playoff teams.
Luckily, there's a very easy solution here. But I like to cook the turkey slow and low, and that's how we're cooking the Bootski right now, and that's fine. But I think in a couple more weeks here, I just really feel like you got to give Daniil Bootski a look.
And if you go by some of the recent reports, David Pagnotta, 4th period, had Bill as one of the more active teams right now, looking for, I think it said a scoring winger, scoring forward, but that could potentially fill that 2nd line as well.
That would be a great solution. We're sitting here saying, hey, can you maybe kind of fit Jack McBain in there, or Lawson Krause, Barrett Hayton? I mean, maybe rather than looking within, we can look without. Maybe there's another option for the power play out on the market.
Well, that transition was so silky smooth, but I am not going to take the layup, and I'm going to pump the brakes real quick, because I got to talk about something. We just dropped a new T-shirt where proceeds are going straight to the Utah Food Bank. This shirt is nice as hell, and we want you to show your support for Utah. We had Clubbers Till You Die help with this design, which you may have seen his beautiful Photoshop of Cooley walking into a game with it on. Fantastic way to not only support a good cause around the holiday season, but also to support Clean Hits Hockey. And you got holiday gifts for all of your favorite Mammoth fans and family. And we have our Logan Cooley Donor Nation approved T-shirt coming off hot off of a 4-goal game. We have the elite Mikhail Sergachev. We need to get the other Russian factor in here pretty soon here. Send over some of those T-shirt designs. Of course, the classic Dylan Gunther Costco card shirt. Just the other classic Mammoth Club shirt. All those can be had at shop.cleanhitshockey.com. Again, great way to support the podcast, especially if you get the Nice as Hell shirt. A great way to support a great local cause. Just in time for the holiday season. And if you haven't already, make sure you're subscribed to us on YouTube or on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It helps us kind of get more outreach to you. And you can, of course, join our fantastic community and our Discord, which is discord.cleanhitshockey.com. All right, back to business. And let's transition to ways this team could prove maybe from the outside rather than the inside. Like we mentioned, this season's been pretty strange. There have not been really any bottom feeders until the past couple weeks. I mean, Nashville actually kind of started out hot. They were getting great goaltending from Saros. He was one of the top saves above expected leaders in the league. That has fallen off a little bit. Vancouver, another team that, if they were to have stayed healthy, could have looked a lot sharper. But unfortunately, Thatcher Demko, their starting netminder, has struggled with this. And the entire team is struggling with not only injuries, but just their play in general. And then the Calgary Flames, who I think a lot predicted to be one of the bottom feeders of the league this year, have proven that they still are. Even if they've been playing a little bit better and been starting to get a little bit better goaltending, I think these are three teams, and maybe the only three teams right now, who would be willing to discuss trades. Because again, Toronto, last place in the Eastern Conference, but they're getting Matthews back and Matty Nyes back. This is a team that's going to jump back up into the standings, followed by Columbus and Buffalo over in the East, who I think it's just a matter of time where they can start crawling their way up, and they are both coming out of rebuilds. There's not many teams out there who would like to rebuild that are willing to sell pieces. But Nashville, Calgary, Vancouver, and then maybe one more team in the East that I haven't brought up that has been struggling in the Mammoth just beat. Those are kind of the four teams I have circled.
I think if you look at momentum, if you look from yesterday and then back 30 days or whatever, so like October 25th to November 25th, the teams with the worst point percentages in the NHL are Nashville, expected, Vancouver, second worst point percentage in that time frame. Then St. Louis is third. Then a bit of a surprise team is Winnipeg at 4. Winnipeg is 6-7 in their last 13. No loser points there. But St. Louis
7.
Oh, sorry. St. Louis has only got 4 wins in their last 16 games. Vancouver only has 5 in their last 15. So, yeah, these are teams that didn't just have like a slow start. They're coming back. It looks pretty dismal for those folks.
And some GMs there or presidents of hockey operation in Vancouver and St. Louis specifically who just don't like to sit on their hands. Jim Rutherford in Vancouver is somebody who always acts early. And then St. Louis, if you go back to the year they won the Stanley Cup, they sent out like a league-wide memo that was essentially like a Christmas shopping list. Like if you need to buy, make sure you swing by St. Louis. And then, I mean, they still rebounded and ended up winning the Stanley Cup. But two GMs who aren't really interested in sitting around and waiting for a bounce back that may not happen. So maybe we should swing by St. Louis or swing by Vancouver.
Yeah, I mean, St. Louis has a negative 24 goal differential.
Yep.
They've only played
allowing the most goals against in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then Vancouver's pretty rough at negative 15.
Did you see who's potentially starting in net for them tonight against
Vancouver?
The Ducks? Uh-huh.
I don't even know who their third stringer is because it was.
I'm not even convinced it's their third stringer.
So Demko's out, and then they have the Finnish goalie, and then they have. Is it no? It's not Michael DiPietro.
They have Lankinen. Lankinen's the other guy. Demko and Lankinen.
Yeah.
That's who they got. Yeah. Who
Daily Faceoff has. This is unconfirmed right now in the afternoon of November 26th, but Nikita Talopilo is the projected starter for Vancouver tonight, who has 0 games this season. I don't know if he's ever played in the NHL. But here we are.
I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about him.
I've been a diehard Nikita Tolopilo fan since his days at Dynamo Minsk. That's not true. I completely made that up. I have no idea who that is. He did play for Dynamo Minsk, though. I will say that, but I'm not a Tolopilo enthusiast. I don't know who the hell that is, to be honest with you.
He has played 2 games in his NHL career, and that was the 24-25 season.
Interesting.
Aside from like the big ticket shopping in Vancouver with Pettersson, who we talked about a lot last season, there's anything you would want to buy from Vancouver? I would like this team to be able to upgrade Tusi a bit. I feel for our friend Kenny Dietz from the Discord, but unfortunately Hayton has just not taken that next step. I would not be shocked if he gets hot soon and we feel pretty comfortable at center position, but this is year after year of the slow starts. You guys talked about this over and over the past couple episodes, but I feel like that's the spot where we can get a nice little vet bridge center between now and when Desi is ready, or Kobo. It's too bad Calgary is so against a rebuild, because Kadri would be perfect. The contract's probably 1 year too long, but we can deal with that. And I mean, same with Nashville and Ryan O'Reilly, and Barry Trotz having an insane price tag attached to him and the whole fake no movement clause. Some concerns there with O'Reilly too on my end, and I'm not entirely sure how much tread is left on that tire, but those two would kind of be perfect little buffers until the prospects are ready to go.
I would have to agree.
Yeah, I think looking at Vancouver, it's like Pettersson. To your point, Corey, we did beat that drum to death. I don't know about adding a guy who's so thin and lacks physical strength to a team that already features Schmaltz and Keller and Cooley and Gunther in the top 6, Peterka. These are not big bruisers, right? So I'm not sure if that matches the identity that Bill Armstrong probably wants to build. I would love to add Nazem Kadri. Honestly, I truly would. I'd do that in a second. But to your point, yeah, Calgary seems hesitant to pull the trigger on that, which makes zero sense.
John Maloney got absolutely shredded over the last week.
Yeah,
I think he's just parroting what his instructions are from ownership, but they are talking about like, oh, we don't want to rebuild. You're not guaranteed a first overall pick, and there's not a whole lot there in Calgary. So like, let's burn it to the ground.
And also, who cares if you're not guaranteed a first overall pick? If you finish last year, guaranteed a top 3 pick, and in this draft, there's no favorite. It could be McKenna. It could be Ivar Stenberg, who's putting up literally historic SHL numbers. He might have the best drafted eligible SHL season ever by the time it's said and done. And then there's Keaton Verhoff, who's like a 6'4" monster who's already performing extremely well in Division I hockey for a top program as a defenseman in his draft year, which is insane. So like any one of those 3 is probably okay, and probably a little bit better for Calgary than like hanging on to Nazem Kadri for some reason. I don't know why they wouldn't load up. It doesn't make any sense. They should.
A hell of a little collection if they moved out Kadri and Anderson and Blake Coleman.
Yeah, Coleman and Mackenzie Weegar
as well,
yeah,
right.
And the nice thing about Calgary is a lot of their young talent's already on the team. They've got Dustin Wolf on the team. Connor Zeri's already on the team. Hanzik is on the team already. Coronado is on the team already. Like a lot of their young guys are right there. Zane Perek is on the team already. I think they're sending him back down to junior, but a lot of
he's got his taste though.
Yeah, their top young talent is really close and knocking on the door. And you're telling me you wouldn't want to trade Nazem Kadri for a guy 10 years younger than him and Barrett Hayton, and then probably we're adding a pick to that as well. Like it seems like a no-brainer, but it also seems like they're not terribly interested in it. Similarly with Nashville, Trotz is saying like very bizarre things. The rumors are that he wants a first-round pick and an A-level prospect for a 35-year-old Ryan O'Reilly. He's also saying that like he's treating O'Reilly as though he does have a no movement clause when he has no trade protection of any kind.
This is how people play EA NHL in their heads. They're like, well, technically Ryan O'Reilly wouldn't want me to just trade him to anywhere. So I'm going to not trade him with the computer GM'd Calgary Flames here, even though I know I can get it the first from them.
Also, can someone help me understand where this like adoration and love and respect and like appreciation for Ryan O'Reilly is coming from for Barry Trotz? He's played 6 playoff games for the Nashville Predators ever. They lost in the first round, and he put up 2 points.
I think it's just
like where's this loyalty coming from? Like they're not building a statue to Ryan O'Reilly in front of the arena in Nashville. He's been there for 3 seasons. He's got 6 playoff games and 2 points. Like, he deserves a no movement clause that he doesn't actually have out of respect for like who is this for? Who is this for?
I think it's just like if you talk about like the type of players who would have been loved by head coach Barry Trotz, like O'Reilly's top of that list. But
sure,
I'm just looking back to the last time O'Reilly was traded, and it was 2023. The Blues traded him to St. Louis because I was wondering, like, did they get a first and a top prospect then? It was a bit of a convoluted deal because it was a 3-team trade between Toronto and St. Louis and Minnesota. St. Louis got back Adam Gaudette, Mikhail Abramov, who was a decent-ish prospect who didn't turn out, a first, a second, and a third. So even back then, when O'Reilly was more put together, they still didn't get a first and a top prospect. So to ask for that now when he's not as good as he was 2 years ago,
it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah, I don't know what Barry Trotz is doing, but you know what? I'm not alone because Barry Trotz doesn't know what he's doing either, and neither does any hockey fan or media person out there. It doesn't make any sense. It's hard to deal with him. St. Louis is a team that is going nowhere fast. They have a lot of really good talent on the roster that's pretty young. Guys like Kyrou and guys like Robert Thomas. They've been drafting really well. So they have Jake Neighbors and Jimmy Snuggerud there. They have Dvorsky. They've got a lot of really good young talent. They also have a lot of old guys with trade protection, kind of bogging them down a little bit. So I think they're in for a short rebuild there. I think there's a lot of reason to be hopeful in St. Louis, but the current core, the Parayko and the Shen and the Falk and Binnington and this group, they're going nowhere fast. What pieces out of St. Louis are interesting to you guys?
Well, probably ones they're not willing to trade. Robert Thomas.
Yeah. See, I feel like they're in a situation that this team was in a couple years ago where you had kind of the pieces from what the one rebuild, and then you start adding pieces from a second rebuild. So that first rebuild for the Coyotes at the time, those pieces would have included Clayton Keller, Jacob Chikrin, who was eventually moved, obviously, Dvorak, who was moved, Nick Schmaltz, who kind of was our consolation prize for Dylan Strome, who was drafted 3rd overall, and Lawson Krause, which was a really nice savvy move by John Chaika at the time to get a prospect who was he
first round pick,
a top 12 pick
in the McDavid 11th
overall, right? Yeah. And bringing a big power forward in, so you kind of look at that, and we have 3 of those pieces still. Then you kind of have these years where they were still drafting high or moving first. They collected Hayton kind of in that period, but Soderstrom, who was our first-round pick in 2019, doesn't pan out. We lose all of our draft picks because of Stretchgate in 2020. If you don't know what that is, go ahead and get completely flabbergasted with the punishment this franchise received from it. And then you start the BA era in 2021 draft where they didn't have a first and had to move core pieces in order to get a first. And now you start the Gunther, Cooley, Simashev Boot, Tija Ginla era of the rebuild. So I think that's more where Blues are. I think you keep Rob Thomas. I'll forever just call him Rob Thomas because that is just so much more smooth than Robert. Maybe Kyrou, but he's been in the doghouse a little bit there. and then you kind of use that as your bridge to the neighbors, Dvorsky's, and then whatever next couple picks they grab.
Snuggerud and yeah. They've drafted well,
but they need to completely rebuild a blue line.
It's old. That is an old blue line.
So that actually got a little light bulb to go off in my mind, and maybe they would be interested in some of our defensive prospects plus some picks for a guy like Schenn, who could really help shore out our center depth. Schenn has played wing at times before too, so I'm happy to slide him over to wing if Hayton starts to get hot, or slide McBain over to wing again. It gives you tons and tons of optionality, boys.
I just have more concerns about Schenn than I do about O'Reilly in terms of just how much is left there, and he's signed.
Agreed.
Decent number, 6.5 this year and 2 more.
Yeah, but I mean, the 2 years on Schenn isn't too bad, is the thing, right? Like, because this year he's going to help you out. He's been off to a bad start. I mean, St. Louis has been struggling. I think he would be a shot in the arm a little bit. He is their captain. He's a blood and guts guy. He'll fight. He'll hit. He can win faceoffs. He's not going to give you more than 50 points at this stage, if he can give you 50. But he ought to be able to give you 40 to 45. Barrett Hayton's not going to end the season with more than 35 points, I don't think. Schenn has probably a little bit more of a chance to do that. I think with somebody, I don't know if you're looking at him as a Schenn or as a Hayton upgrade, though. I don't know if you want to part with Hayton in a deal for Schenn. You probably want to keep them both. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that
gets a little.
I think they're basically the same player at this point. So what's the point in trading for just an older Hayton? I would move Hayton for an upgraded center for sure and more stuff, but for basically the same player who's how old's Barrett Hayton? He was a 2018 pick, right? So he's 25 now.
25.
So he's
he was one of the youngest that draft year, which was something that we all had to tell ourselves over and over and over.
The other,
I think Schen's a captain. He's a cup champ. He's bigger. He's harder nosed. I think he brings more diverse elements to the table, but he is declining. And I don't think Barrett Hayton, like, if you were to trade him straight up for Schenn, I don't know how long that's an upgrade for. And you could probably sign Barrett Hayton for 2 years, $6.5 million. You could probably sign him for less than what Schenn would cost. So yeah, that's a tricky one. If he had less term, I'd be more interested. Or if he was a little younger. Yeah, that's a tough one.
15 team no trade list. So I wonder if Utah would be on his no fly list. Maybe not. Maybe at this point, maybe it's like, let's just get the hell out of St. Louis and get on a team that's more competitive. But there's probably also going to be other teams interested in Braden Schenn that might be more appealing to Braden Schenn.
I'm also leery of an Armstrong on Armstrong type trade. I would hate for Bill to overpay to tip his cap.
I would prefer Bill
you owe me a
to
couple
deal
beers
with
next time I'm in town.
Yeah, let's have Bill continue to deal with the lesser GMs where he's seen his best successes, right? Like a Pierre Dorion or a Marc Bergevin, and like what's the deal where Bill probably gave up the most? Maybe the Tampa deal, and that was against Breezewa, who's one of the better GMs. So let's not do a deal with Doug Armstrong and pay a full price. Let's go to Nashville, and if we can't get a center, like we talked about that, filling that second line hole on the wing. Would you make a deal to bring Michael Bunting back to this franchise? He's got half a point a game this year. He has expiring contract. He's 6 foot. He's got some bite. He can play second line, third line. He's not going to lead this team to a Stanley Cup, but he's better than what we have in that spot right now. And I don't imagine the price is that high for him. Like
he's just Carcone, but better. He's just a better Carcone.
Yeah.
Basically the same. Yeah.
I wouldn't give up a second rounder for him.
If we had made that trade 2 weeks ago, I would have been happy. But with Kerfoot, how much longer is Kerfoot?
I think Kerfoot's end of January, and even then, like he might need a conditioning stint. He hasn't played a game since last April, right? He didn't have any training camp. He didn't have a preseason. So I don't have any expectations for Alex Kerfoot this year.
Okay. Then I'm not opposed to that, but I feel like bunting can be more one that you do in January, closer to February.
It's like a plan C, basically.
Yeah. I'd like to see plan B with bringing up Daniil Boot first.
Well,
Boot plan.
Center is, I do think center is the top priority by far. Is there a center on the mystery team you're talking about?
What about bringing in another Pittsburgh native?
That's who I want. Yes, that's who I want.
Who's about the same height as our Pittsburgh native.
Yeah. He also is off-season training buddies with Clayton Keller. Captain Clayton Keller. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're bros.
Get a little Vinny.
Any size concerns there?
I love Trocheck. I think Trocheck would be a great fit. I wish he was a little bit bigger, but he's a blooding guts guy. Though. He plays bigger. He's been in the playoffs. I think Vincent Trocheck would be such a nice fit here.
He's gotten over his injury issues.
That is a GM who has absolutely no direction right now.
Yep.
And probably fired at the end of the year if New York misses.
Probably
should have been fired last year.
Yes. And New York's one of those teams that needs picks and prospects and younger players, but also probably still kind of want to be competitive for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think you could probably get Trocheck for the same price as Ryan O'Reilly because of the name recognition of Ryan O'Reilly. It's like getting a Ford instead of a Ram. And I think you could have just as much success with Trocheck. And honestly, I think Trocheck may fit a little bit better. I'm a little bit worried about Ryan O'Reilly long term.
No, I think Trocheck's a much better acquisition, like by a lot, not even close. I would give them Hayton in our first today.
Oh, first hurts, but sure.
Yeah. I'd do it easy.
How many years does Trocheck have on his term too?
This year and another 3 at 5.6.
Yep.
He has a full-blown what did he have for no trade? He has no trade 10-team list this year.
So his contract would be ending around the same age that Ryan O'Reilly or Kadri are right now.
It's the same as the Kadri contract, yeah.
Yeah,
but
so he will
be as old as they are today when his contract ends.
Right. Yes, because he's 32.
The final year of his deal, he'll be 35 the whole time. Yeah. So he's 32 all season this season in year 4 of the deal. Then he'll be 33 in year 5, 34 in year 6, and 35 for the entirety of the 7th and final year of the contract. He wins all his faceoffs, or not all his faceoffs. That's ridiculous. He's well above 50% on faceoffs. He wins like 54% of his draws. He's a right-handed center. He's a hard-nosed player. He can score. He can make plays. He can skate. He's a leader. He's well known as to Logan Cooley and to Clayton Keller be a great fit here.
They can talk about Parmati Bros.
He's managed to put up 8 points in 10 games for a pretty lowly Rangers team.
And he's been hurt.
Yep. He plays on the power play. He plays on the penalty kill. He would be a great addition for this team. And I would happily fork over Barrett Hayton in the first round pick.
I just don't think the Rangers are going to sell. Like they made their coach $9 million coach, right? So this is a team that has playoff aspirations. Like they're the Rangers. They never really tank. They had that letter go out a couple of years ago saying they're going to rebuild, and they can't control themselves every year in free agency.
Nope.
But
they're 11 and
2 though.
Yeah.
You could sell. A little younger. Yep. Former 5th overall pick, guys. Yep. Look at this. Who knows what he could do with Panarin?
And he's in that general age range of Edstrom and Cooley and of Lafreniere and some of the kind of younger guys, Rempe and I guess Fox is a little older, but Robertson, Schneider, they're all in that kind of same age range there. So there's a little bit of a fit there, I think. And, to your point, they are directionless. Like they're 11-11-2. And in their last 10, they're 5-5. So like it hasn't changed. They're just like they're just that's it. They're just gonna they're gonna be an 82-point team by the looks of it. Yeah.
At what point are they trading Lafreniere? Like it's been rumored for so long, right?
Well, they didn't get much for Kako.
No, gave him away.
Yeah. And I don't know that they would get a whole lot for Lafreniere. So I don't know, man.
When you said Pittsburgh center from the Rangers, I thought you were going JT Miller there for a second.
Some
red flags. Too? He is from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, do not want.
Especially after that clip the other day, him dragging his ass out there. So.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think I don't know, man. I don't know what direction the Rangers are going to go. I would love to add Trocheck, but I don't know that there's a lot of options out there.
The other team that's rumored is the Ottawa Senators. Apparently, big game hunting right now. Is there a possible fit there? Look at their centers. I don't think they're trading any of them, but can you imagine having Stützle and Dylan Cousins and Shane Pinto down the middle?
But if they're big game hunting, that means they would want to like send Pinto to us for.
They just signed Pinto.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I think they're like the type that's going to be looking to find a way to add like Panarin or something.
Yep. That's yeah. But they need cap space. There was a rumor I saw posted. I don't remember who said it that they're having a little bit of buyer's remorse on Fabian Zetterlund not living up to the contract early.
They're also a budget team.
That looks like a good way to free up some space. I'd like to add Zetterlund to our bottom six for sure. See if he can rebound. I love that player. He's a freaking cigarette machine, 220 pounds at 5'11". He'll get you 120, 150 hits a season. He's been able to score, at a 20, 40 pace in the past. He's not getting it done in Ottawa right now, but he's only 26 years old. I mean, I'm not really in the market for a bottom six winger, but I would love to add that one. He really brings some jam. So if they're just looking to offload him to create space for their big game hunt and they want maybe like a draft pick or something like that they can add in their package for a big star player, I wouldn't mind facilitating that deal for them and giving us a little bit more size and jam in our bottom six on the wings.
Yeah, I do think we need more
of like a bunting, but I am not opposed to a bunting type move if Hayton starts to get hot. We feel like the prices for centers are too much. And we just
it's Christmas, so you gotta have the bunting, right? So
yeah,
in the Garland, yeah.
That was the name I was looking at when we were talking about Vancouver. But
I think
we talked about undersized. I don't know if
I don't think he would ever want to play for BA again.
Yeah, I think we kind of sewered him there. And we talked about the size of the top six. He's only 5'8", so he's shorter than Garland, or not Garland, shorter than. Maybe shorter than what? I can't even think of his name.
All I want for Christmas is for the Rangers to lose every game between now and Christmas, so that we can talk them into taking Barrett Hayton and a draft pick for Vinny Trocheck.
Remember when BA gave us a day late Christmas present a couple years ago and sent Derek Stepan to Ottawa?
We got a second round pick.
And that turned into Josh Doan, and then that turned into Peterka.
I know. And Stepan was horrible. He was so bad and had no hope of getting better. I do not know what Ottawa was thinking. I mean, we should have had to give them 2 second-round picks to take.
I know.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
That might be Bill's best move, to be honest.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and that was his first.
Got to be up there. Yeah, I think the Ladd pickup was really good too, because I still remember that one time that Ladd stood up for Clayton Keller.
Yeah,
all of a sudden Keller just clicked after that.
Yeah,
Ladd
and it was decent,
clonking someone, and Keller just having that light bulb moment of, "Hey, these people like me and will stand up for me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go into the middle more."
Ladd was decent. He wasn't the Chicago Ladd, but he was better than Louis Eriksson and Jay Beagle and all that other crap that we had to fill the roster with.
Yeah, he got to have his 1,000th game here and his celebration here. Yeah, he was good. He was a fine fourth line veteran presence, and we got paid a king's ransom to take
3 picks to take him. Same with Gostisbehere. Take some picks and take this power play quarterback. So between those two, we got Gostisbehere and Ladd and 5 picks for nothing.
Gostisbehere might be one of the most underrated NHL players over the last 5 seasons.
Where is he now? Is he back in Carolina? Detroit?
Yeah.
Carolina? Okay.
He's in Carolina, and he has better than a point per game there. He has 14 points in 13 games. Wow. Of course he does.
Yeah. He has the thing with him is the playoffs, right? And we saw that at the deadline where we could only get a third from him. He had like a 50-point season in Arizona. So
50-point defenseman, and he would have been. And
he's not big.
Yeah, but I mean, he would have been like, I think he was probably like 27, 28 when we dealt him. So prime 50-point D. We got a 3rd-round pick. That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's like the Tyson Berry type. So get you some points, but not going to do anything else.
This is why I always have arguments with other prospect nerds every draft year when they fall in love with super skilled, super like undersized draft prospects. And they're like, oh, but he's so good. And I'm like, yeah, he's so good. He might put up like 50, 60 points in the NHL, and then you might be able to get a 3rd-round pick for him.
Yep.
Like, why take him in the top 10? Yeah, like don't. They never carry a trade value. And you can, if you really want a small offensive defenseman who can put up a ton of points, you can go get one and not use a top 10 pick on him. Anyway.
Same with wingers. Yep.
Yeah, even Durzi only cost us a 2nd-round pick, right?
Yep, and if we traded him tomorrow, we'd probably get a 2nd-round pick.
Yep. Well, interesting stuff here. I think it still feels like the season is wide open in terms of playoff teams. The West feels a little bit more typical than the East, or projectable rather. But as we inch our way closer to 2026, I think the markets will probably start opening up. Maybe the Christmas markets will open up, if you will, and maybe the Mammoth will be able to make a nice upgrade here. But if they keep on playing like they have the past couple games and can keep on holding this playoff spot, I think there's a good reason to be a buyer before February.
Yep, and we still have more prospects and draft picks than we know what to do with. So, look at Tucson, and there's just not enough spots down there. I know Trent has been a big proponent of, if we need to trade every single 2026 pick. So,
100%. I'm not married to any of them. I will go negative real quick before I let you close this out, Brad. I'm going to say this personally. Nobody has to agree with me, and they probably won't. I hope that we don't end up in a situation where Winnipeg gets 2 points tonight and we get 0. Because based on points percentage, they will be ahead of us. And I will say that they have the wild card spot. We don't. Because I'm a points percentage guy mid-season when tracking standings. I'm on an island there. But I will be out here saying that Winnipeg is ahead of us and we didn't qualify for the Thanksgiving wild card stat. But nobody has to listen to that because that's just the ravings of a madman.
No, I fully agree. Just copy the same standings as every other sport. Forget all the loser point. I know it's fake and it keeps the standings closer together and keeps some of the hopeless teams, gives them some hope. But just go wins, loss, games back percent like everything else. Forget all the points.
I could not agree more. More. That's my Christmas wish. Just go straight wins, loss, and then count the standings on win percentage. Let's do it. Simplify.
Well, my Christmas wish will be Winnipeg continues to struggle a little bit here before they get Hellebuck back and put themselves out of that spot. How about that?
Yes, absolutely. And then we can have a show in a couple weeks talking about which players we can pick off of their roster.
Yep. Sounds good to me. Well, anything else? No.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving,
real one,
everybody.
The only one that counts.
You know what the benefit of Canadian Thanksgiving is? You don't have
to
see your extended family twice in like a month. You get a nice little buffer.
That's a very Canadian thing to say. Right? In America, we appreciate our family.
All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Go Make sure you're spending some good times and have some good laughs with your loved ones. And we will catch you next week. Mammoth, let's tusk up and beat the Montreal Canadiens tonight and keep on rolling. All right, we'll catch you next time.
I'm running the game now. Foot on the gas, can slow down.